Hey everybody, Gary with Basecamp Trading. Let's take a look at a trade setup in the ES today. This is our 30-minute chart. Again, everybody knows this is our anchor chart. And you can see that the ES pushed up in the overnight, triggered this trend reversal doji, or just triggered this reversal doji to the downside. Also during the night. This happened during the London session. But then that put the ES into a downtrend. You can see we were making a lower high, lower low, lower high, followed by yet another lower low. So the trend had turned to a downtrend. In the afternoon, though, we had a pretty decent pullback in the ES. In fact, the 5 and the 13 kind of stacked on top of each other, crossed slightly to the upside, and then crossed back to the downside. And this is when we finally got our trade set up. We caught a kind of a last minute or kind of end of the afternoon trend reversal breakout in the Renko chart, but it was based off of what was going on with the 30-minute chart. Again, the 5 and 13 had crossed to the downside. We had a really bearish bar. Yes, pushed right down here to the 50 EMA, which is normal. We see that a lot. It kind of hovered around there and finally broke lower. Pushed down nicely, hit significantly undervalued at our target area, and so we took profits at that point. But it actually happened on the Unirenko chart. Now, full disclosure, we were actually on the 5-minute chart at the time, so I did not actually take this particular trade, but this was a perfect trend reversal breakout setup. And so we're going to point it out. Had we been on the Renko chart, this is definitely a trade we would have been looking to take. Now, we ended up getting in on a continuation. We had the Trender Pro 2.0 give us our wick off the 18 right here. And so we were able to ride this down right into our target area. Our target area was 3102. That's when we hit significantly undervalued on our 30-minute chart, and so that's where we took profits, which is still not a bad trade to the downside. I mean, that triggered in at 3113 and a half, and that took us all the way down to 3102. So 11 full points in the ES, $550 per contract, not too bad. But we had a really good setup right here, and this again, trend reversal breakout. You can see we were making higher highs, higher low, higher high. And then we put in our pivot right here. Now, it's not a lower pivot low. Previous pivot low was back here. But it is a pivot. Then we came up here. We put in a lower pivot high. And then we broke to a lower pivot low. And these are the trend reversal breakouts that I like the very best, because the breakout occurred on the right side of the cloud, because for short setups, we want to be underneath the cloud. It was under the smooth 50. The magenta line is our smooth 50. All of our other moving averages were in alignment at this point. The 50 SMA under the smooth 50 under the cloud, 34 EMA under the 50 SMA, and the 18 EMA under the 34. So all of our moving averages were in alignment, because, again, the breakout actually occurs when we break the low of the pivot bar. And the pivot bar was 3121 and a half. That actually broke on this bar right here. So when we broke below the pivot and changed from an uptrend to a downtrend, we were on the right side of the cloud. All of our moving averages were in alignment. We had momentum. The fast and slow line, both on MQ momentum, had crossed below the 0 line. So we had momentum on our side. All the moving averages on our side. 30-minute chart, 5 and 13, had crossed to the downside, so we had 30-minute confirmation. And this is a textbook perfect trend reversal breakout. And this would have been a really nice trade to the downside, because we've been able to hit 3 targets, get the little pullback, and then re-entered, and then continue on down to our downside target. But again, happened to be on the 5-minute chart at the time when this setup occurred. So again, full disclosure, I did not trade this breakout here. I didn't actually get in till a little later. I caught the continuation and got in a little later. A little late to the party, but Trender Pro 2.0 gave us a nice entry signal, and we were still able to grab a decent profit on the way down. But again, textbook trend reversal breakout on the ES this afternoon.